Hello and welcome to warm and sunny Dartmoor. It was 21 degrees Celsius on the drive down here today, and I don't want to curse it, but it really feels like summer's starting to creep in. And on the note of weather, I'm going to have a quick chat today about whether or not you really need to buy season-specific camping equipment for while camping in the UK, i.e. do you need summer gear and separate winter gear? So I'll have a chat about that, and I'm also just really glad to be out again because it's been ages since I came out for a camp. So let's get moving. I've parked at the Meldon Reservoir car park today. I've parked there quite a few times and I really like this area. There are so many animals around. You've got cows, you've got geese, and today there are lots of ponies with all their brand new foals all jumping around. So I did enjoy walking among them all and just looking at the new foals because they're so young, so tiny and wobbly still. And the daughter of the fella who owns them was walking among them all as well. She said how calm they were, so it was fun just to get up close to them and see their new little legs trying to work and trying to walk and jump around. My regular viewers will know that I haven't been out for quite a long time. I think it's been 5 weeks now since that last outing in the Black Mountains. And originally the reason for me having a break was my knee, because I've picked up a bit of a knee niggle. But then my girlfriend and I went on holiday to Spain for a week. Then we had a celebratory meal. Then we had a wedding. And it would appear I caught COVID somewhere in between there, so the last 2 weeks I've been pretty rough, and today is my first proper go out again with a tent, and I'm really looking forward to it. It's felt like months since the last time I was out. The weather feels really different this time out. In Wales it was nice and sunny on the first day of my previous trip, but it really cooled down in the night to around about 0 Celsius I think with the wind chill. So this time I think it's meant to get down to about 8 degrees at the coldest. So it feels like a completely different season, and it almost is, because spring is definitely out now. We've got glorious blue sky, nice hot sunshine. So in the direct sun today it's going to be about 30 degrees Celsius, which is just a real treat. So that's why I thought I'd have a chat about seasonal equipment today. Do you have to invest in summer kit and winter kit, or is there some way you can walk a line between the two, share some equipment between both seasons and save a bit of money? No one wants to spend more money than they have to, and that includes me. So if you're new to wild camping or you're considering starting up, you might be looking at what gear you have to buy and what gear you can get away with buying as a bare minimum. The obvious difference between summer and winter camping is the temperature difference, and that's where the cost really comes in. It's really important that you can keep warm enough when you're out camping, and of course it gets coldest at night typically, so it's really important that your sleeping bag is up to keeping you warm in those temperatures when they plummet in winter. If you can only really afford one sleeping bag, my advice would be to buy one that can keep you warm enough on those coldest nights that you plan on heading out in winter, and then when it comes to summer you can fully unzip your sleeping bag, and then you can just regulate your temperature that way, leave the doors open, wear less in bed, anything like that. And that way you can probably get away without trying to buy a lighter weight summer sleeping bag or a quilt. So that's one compromise you could make, rather than buying 2 or 3 different sleeping bags or quilts to get you through the year. A different way of looking at it is that you could buy a slightly cooler sleeping bag, so not quite warm enough to keep you warm in the depths of winter, but then you could add another sleeping mat underneath, maybe a foam mat, maybe a foil mat, and of course you can always wear more clothes, and you can put a bivvy bag around your sleeping bag as well. A third suggestion I could give is that you try out a winter quilt. So if you buy a nice thick heavyweight winter quilt, quilts are much more versatile than sleeping bags, so you can really open them right up. You can drape it over yourself, you can have it halfway down, you can scrumple it up and put it back in your backpack if you're too hot in the night. So if you think you could get on with a quilt, maybe look at some of the heavier duty, heavier weight quilts that are rated a bit more to winter temperatures, and that could work for you. It probably goes without saying that you are going to need to wear more clothes as it gets colder, so you can't really get around that problem. You do need to buy enough layers. Some of them might be down, some of them might be just really thick synthetic insulation, but layers are really important. So as the weather gets cooler, maybe buy yourself an extra fleece layer, maybe a down jacket and an all-important windproof layer, and that should help you out as the temperatures drop. Thankfully at this time of year we don't really need to worry about that stuff too much. I'll tell you a bit about where I'm walking and camping today. So I've actually camped in tonight's camping location once before, and it turns out it was 1 year and 1 week ago. That wasn't planned. I fancied a shorter walk because of my knee, and also I really enjoyed that camp. It was a really nice location. I had originally been aiming for Great Links Tour, which you can see right now over here, and Hunt Tour is actually just over this side of the path. So when I arrived at Great Links Tour, I could see that someone else had already bagged it. In fact, there were 2 or maybe even 3 tents up there in the end. And I had a really nice quiet spot looking over to Great Links Tour, and I loved it. So I'm really keen to go back. And there was a little rock in the morning that the sheep all seem to enjoy sunbathing on. So if I'm lucky, they'll all do the same thing again, and I'll just get to hang out with them in the morning. Turns out there are lots of cows up here today as well. So yeah, I fancied a shorter, easier walk today. Thank you to everyone for all your supportive comments on my last video and lots of suggestions that I try trekking poles. It's something I'm definitely interested in trying out. Funnily enough, my knee issue doesn't really seem to be related to putting weight on it, so I can actually plant my weight on it really solidly and it's fine. It's more as I bring the leg forward while I'm walking down a hill that it hurts in the back of the knee. So bit of a weird one. Due to having my COVID or whatever it is, I haven't wanted to go to a physio just because I don't want to infect everyone, but hopefully I can get to see someone soon. I just need to stop up here to pick up a little bit of water because I have got 1.5 litres with me, and I'll need a little bit more than that tonight to cook my food. This is the perfect place to come and get some water. Nice, fairly clear, fairly fast running stream. So I've got my 2 litre water bag here. I'll just dip this in, get a bit of water. I can take that up to camp with me and filter it when I get there. That's my water collected, just over 1 litre, which will be plenty for tonight. So I'll pack this in my bag and walk this last mile or so up to the camp. Having talked about how the weather might affect the choice of sleeping bag and clothes that you make, I should probably also touch on tents. So my backpack right now weighs 15.5 kilos, and this is kind of a midsummer setup for me. That also includes 1.5 litres of water and my food and all of my filming gear as well. So if you take all that lot out, it's probably more like 12 kilos. I do go quite a bit lighter when the summer really kicks in, but right now this is a kind of crossover point for me. And as you can see, there's a little bit of cloud creeping in. It's kind of half and half sunny and blue sky, half grey, and the forecast did suggest that there might be some showers tonight. And in my backpack I've got my Naturehike Vik 1, and I love this tent for summer, but I don't really recommend it for the sort of wet and rainy end of the year. And because we might get a bit of a shower tonight, I might get to show you why I don't recommend it for rainy weather or even humid and cold conditions. But if you look on the flip side of that, if you get yourself a fairly solid 4-season tent, then you can absolutely use that all year round. You can use it in the cold, the rain, the snow, but then when it warms up again, you can still use it in the summer. Granted, it might not be as cool or as well ventilated as some 3-season or 2-season offerings, but you will be able to use it. You will be able to get out there and camp. You can open up whatever ventilation options you have on it, possibly even prop the ground sheet up by sticking some shoes around the edge or something, just to pick the fly sheet up off the ground and get some air moving through there. And that means that if you're quite new to camping, if you're not really ready to invest the big bucks in having different shelters for different weather, you can just buy one for yourself. I'd recommend something like the OEX Fox 2 because it's under 100 quid, it's 4 seasons, it will take some fairly strong weather, but it's also not so expensive it's going to break the bank, and you can use it in the summer if you want to. Of course, if you've been camping for a while, if you've decided you really want to get the best and the lightest or the greatest equipment out there, then maybe you'll want to invest in more than one shelter like I have. So I have this little lightweight 2-season, 3-season shelter. I've also got a couple of 4-season tents. I also bought a bivvy bag last year for the really lightweight out there sleepy under the stars experience. But it's not for everyone. Not everyone wants to buy tent after tent. Maybe you're just trying it out. Maybe you just camp 3 or 4 times a year, in which case it doesn't really make sense to invest in all that gear that's not going to get used all that much. Well, that's the end of my 4-mile walk. I've made it up here. That's Hunt Tor, you can see just behind me. So let's get over to that rock. So here we are up on our rock. This is Hunt Tor, and you can probably hear that the wind is picking up a little bit now, but it's not really meant to get any stronger than this. It's about 9 miles an hour max apparently. I've actually left my anemometer at home because I've brought my Osprey Exos 48 with me today. It's the first time using this lighter weight pack for a good few months because my bigger 65 litre pack has been helping me out through the winter. So it's good to be 1 kilogram lighter straight away for using this lighter pack. So yeah, I don't have my anemometer today, but hopefully this is as strong as the wind will get. And I'm going to pitch my tent exactly where I pitched it last time, which is just in here at the bottom of that rock. I spent quite a while looking for the best spot last time I camped here, so I already know that's the ideal place to put my tent. It gets a tiny bit of shelter from this wind that's coming in, and it's really quite level there as well. Not very flat, it's a bit bumpy, but the main thing is it's level. This is Great Links Tor over here. That's where I aimed to camp last time. It does look pretty impressive. I'd like to camp there one night, but not tonight. And as you can see, it's gone really quite grey. So I was hoping just to sit out on these rocks like I did last time and drink in the evening sun. But although the views are grey, they are good views from up here. It's 6 o'clock now, so I've still got quite a long time till sunset. I really hope the sky clears so I can see a little bit more, but I'm quite hungry now, so I'm going to crack open the sausage roll. My girlfriend kindly picked me up this afternoon, and she also picked me up a brewdog, so I'm looking forward to that. I've also got some dehydrated meals, which I'll cook with my stream water I just picked up now. But otherwise I have nothing to do. This is exactly what I wanted. I just wanted to chill out and enjoy a bit of Dartmoor's peace and quiet. I've seen absolutely nobody since the car park, which is just great. I just checked my phone and the walk was exactly 5 miles to come up here, with a little backward and forward walking for YouTube. So yeah, it's ideal. 5 miles, my knee is fine, and time to get the shelter up. There is a tiny bit of sun there trying to break through the cloud, but it's really not a bad evening at all. It's quite mild. Bit of cloud cover over there, as you can see, but I'm all set up now. Got the little Naturehike Vik one down here. I'm in my warmer clothes as well, so I've got my lightweight down jacket on. I've got a beanie on as well. I've got my microfleece hoodie and a thermal base layer. I've also switched over to my trousers now with my long johns on underneath, just because I was cooling down a bit while I was setting the tent up. I also think I'm still slightly under the weather, so maybe I'm feeling the cold a little bit more, but it's about 13, 14 degrees on my digital thermometer at the moment. But I will show you around my campsite for the night. So as I said, this is the Naturehike Vik 1. I really do like this little tent, and I'm actually going to film a quick sort of 2.5 year ownership review on this tent, so keep an eye out for that. And let's see what we've got. So I've got the Osprey Exos 48, as I mentioned. I've got my Ceenoc Vecto 2-litre water bag. I've got about 1.5 litres in there. I've got an Nalgene half-litre bottle of water, MSR Windburner stove, Brewdog IPA beer, thank you very much to my girlfriend, and I've got adventure food, pasta bolognese for main course and mousse au chocolat for pudding, and then that's my porridge mix down below for breakfast, and the obligatory long handle spoon. I get my little thermometer out of the way. So this is my Berghaus Elevation 600 bag. These aren't available anymore, but you can buy similar bags. This keeps me warm from about 3 degrees Celsius upwards normally. I've got my Flextail Zero pillow over here, Thermarest NeoAir X-Therm, and then I've got odds and sods, so I've got spare clothes in here, electrical stuff around the side and up at the top, and there's also a little sort of mini vestibule out the back here with a little zip at the bottom here you can access. So I've got a tripod and my bag of bags, so I tend to bag all my gear up in the dry bag I use for my tent. So I've got my sleeping bag, compression bag in there, just all the little bags, they all go in that yellow bag. And then I've got my Flextail Tiny Pump 2X, which inflated my sleep mat and my pillow earlier. That's now hanging from the loop, and it's got its little silica lampshade on there as well. If you'd like to buy one of those, I'll leave a link down in the description. There's also a discount code there to get 15% off any Flextail gear on the website. So if you want to use any of my Flextail gear, hit those links up and get some for yourself. I don't know about you, but this looks like the perfect place to have dinner tonight. I am sitting up on the rock I sat on last time I camped here, which is, as I said, almost exactly a year ago. I'm going to be nice and warm in my sleeping bag up here, and I've got everything right here I need to make my food. I've got the all-important can of beer, I've got my bag of water which I'll now filter, got my stove, got my 2 meals, got some tap water here as well, and I've got views. This is not a bad spot at all. And that just leaves me to enjoy a nice blue, hopefully clear sunset, just to unwind and do not a lot more than make my food, eat my food, drink my beer and enjoy the view. I will get this boiling now to make sure I've killed off any nasty stuff that's left in there. It's a little bit windy, so I'm just going to shelter this, and as soon as it's lit and I get the pot on, this stove will stay lit in wind up to 30+ miles an hour, so it's just the small matter of getting it lit to start with. There we go. This seems like as good a time as any to get the beer cracked open. It's had a little bit of a shake on the walk here, I'm sure. Cheers. Now just leave that for 8 minutes and eat it afterwards. It is lovely out here tonight. I've really missed just sitting with nothing to do, no time pressure, nothing to do but sit here and enjoy looking at what's around me. I've eaten my main course now, so I'm just reheating the water here so I can warm up my pudding. I suppose because I am meant to be talking about summer versus winter camping gear, I would mention the stove at this point. So I use the stove all year round. This is the MSR wind burner, and I have proven this in a video of mine carrying out a wind speed test where this is basically impossible to extinguish. Once you've got the pot on the flame, it can take really, really high winds to the point where the wind is actually blowing the stove over, but the flame hasn't gone out. So I use this for every single camp I go on. I love it. You can buy stoves that run on liquid fuels, so they tend to work a bit better in really, really cold temperatures. If you've seen many of my videos, you will have seen that I'm out camping below -10°C every now and then, and I'm still using gas canisters like this. So all you have to do is take care and make sure that you keep them warm enough to work. So whether you put them in your coat pocket or in your sleeping bag with you overnight, if you keep them warm enough, they will work, but they can get to a point where they are just too cold and there isn't enough pressure there to make a flame. So some people prefer the liquid fuel stoves for that reason. I'm still here in my sleeping bag, I'm nice and warm. One thing I didn't mention earlier, I'll just turn this down while it boils. This isn't the warmest sleeping bag money can buy by any means. I don't really want to use this anywhere below 0°C. But I could make this warmer by buying a thermal liner for it, so that can bump up the temperature quite a bit. So if you only want to buy one sleeping bag, you could get one that's just cool enough for summer, but if it's not quite warm enough for winter, you can add a thermal liner, and that can just take the edge off the cold in the winter. It's just gone 9 o'clock, and I don't know if you can tell, but it's gone quite it's not really cloudy, it's just a sort of eerie fog that's creeping out across Dartmoor, which is quite typical for here. It's I love the kind of slightly spooky feeling that comes with it. You can feel it just enveloping you. I was sitting up on the rock, looking out all around me. You can see the clouds drifting across, but then you've got these wispy bits of moisture that come cloaking in around you, and they're drifting overhead now as well. I don't know if you can also see just over here, over my left shoulder and just over the tent, some new neighbours have just moved in. So this is a small flock of 3 sheep, and the last time I was here the sheep really loved being up on that rock. So I was hoping they might come back this time as well, and I could see them all coming across in the morning when I woke up last time, and they started sort of filtering up onto the rock and just sitting there enjoying the sun. They didn't really seem too bothered by me. It was quite nice. We were all just sitting out there enjoying the sunrise together. It's meant to be a really, really sunny day tomorrow, so I expect it'll be very bright in my single skin white coloured tent, which won't be the best at keeping the daylight out, but I'm out here for the views. I'm out here just to get the peace and quiet, and I mean, there's no one around here at all. I absolutely love it. So on that note, I'll end the video here for tonight, and I'll see you when the morning breaks. Good morning, it's 5:30 now. The sun should be rising, but there isn't really a great deal to see over there. What you might be able to see is my little friends perching on the rock over there. They've been there all night. I can hear one of them coughing away. The little black one seems to have a cough. Maybe he's got COVID too. I am quite hungry once again, so I'm looking forward to some nice hot porridge. That's what I was waiting for. Look at that sunrise. Looks like the sheep have wandered off somewhere else, off on their mission to go and eat as much grass as possible today. And Great Lynx Tor is looking superb this morning. I'm up on Sheep Rock now, just having a look around at these views. It's an absolute blinder of a day. It's already about 9 degrees, 10 degrees. I really did wonder if this was going to work out, because the cloud was so thick, but it has gradually been peeling back, dissipating to give way to all of that blue sky. I'll show you straight up above. This is exactly what I was hoping for. So I think I'll just take a minute to hang around up here, watch this day begin. I don't need to think about packing up for a while yet. Just before I pack everything away, I will finish up that conversation about summer versus winter gear by touching on sleep mats. So I use a Thermarest Neoair X-Therm year round. It's nice and comfortable, it's pretty thick, it's got a really high R value, and it doesn't really weigh all that much given the performance I get from it. There are lighter mats available on the market, like the X-Lite version of this mat. Every now and then I do consider buying one, but I'm perfectly happy using this all the way through the year, and you could do the same as well to save a bit of money. If you only have one sleep mat and you find that it gets a little bit cool in winter, what you can do is use layers underneath it. So you can buy foil mats, you can buy closed cell foam mats, and you can buy those from sort of 15 quid up to 30 quid. You don't have to spend a fortune, but it will boost the insulation value of your mat. If you have any other good bits of kit that you use year round and you think other people should know about them, feel free to drop a comment below and let us all share your valuable knowledge. Look at that sunshine. Okay, that's me packed up now. This is the area I was camping in last night, so I've been for a walk around there just to make sure I haven't left anything. So that marks the end of another camp, and it's my first camp for 5 weeks, and it's felt really good to be back out. If you've got any comments or questions, please feel free to leave them in the comments section below. If you've enjoyed my video, please give me a thumbs up. And if you would like to see any more of my camps and gear reviews, please consider subscribing. I've left links to all of my gear in the description section as well, everything I could find links to. So if you want to buy anything that I use, please check those out, and I'll see you on the next one.